I'm going to mention two guys, and you tell me where RJ Barrett falls more in line in terms of the spectrum on the trajectory that he's on. So the first name is Andrew Wiggins, number 1 pick. We know he's a solid starter. He just won a championship with the Warriors. But we know he's never going to live up to the expectations of a number 1 pick. The second guy is Jaylen Brown, number 3 overall pick, developed with the Celtics. Now people are legitimately talking about if he can be a number 1 option on a legit playoff team. Some people have said he's better than Tatum. So where does RJ Barrett fall more in line? Is he closer to Jaylen Brown or is he closer to an Andrew Wiggins?
You asking me personally?
This is a question for everybody.
Oh, I would prefer to answer this last because I'm just curious. I don't want to change nobody's thought.
I would say he's more closer to the wait, who was the first name? I'm so
Andrew
sorry.
Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins. No, Andrew Wiggins. I'm so sorry.
That motherfucker think about that double cheese.
No. My brain went blank for a second, but I meant it's Andrew Wiggins. I would say he's more so closer to Andrew Wiggins.
I think if you're
At
a
this
Knicks
point, at
fan,
least.
I think if you're a Knicks fan, you got to be optimistic he could be in that JB range because real quick, not a lot of players could be 19 years old, be drafted by the Knicks, be the face, number 3 overall. RJ did it. He improved year 2 his efficiency. He improved year 3. Efficiency went down, but he was asked to do more offensively. We know how great he is as a defender as well. So there's not a lot of people mentally, moxie-wise, that could do what RJ can do, which makes me think he has it in him to be more like Jaylen Brown than Wiggins. And Wiggins is not disrespect. We just saw he was the second most important, maybe third behind Draymond, but in the final specifically, right there is one of the most important players for that Warriors team.
I think you mentioned 2 players who were kind of like brought up differently. Andrew Wiggins, he went to a different situation, got better in a great culture. Jaylen Brown brought up in the Boston culture. RJ Barrett got put in a pretty tough situation. I think if he's consistent enough, we're jumping to conclusions. Can he carry? I think the first question should be, can he be consistent for a year stretch? I think that's the first thing he has to do. Can he be that 20 to 22 to 23 points per game scorer all year with the defense? I think that's the first step.
Talk your talk.
But I honestly think he can be a poor man's Jaylen Brown. I do think that is in his right mind. I think he can be a little bit better than Andrew Wiggins. I think Andrew Wiggins is relegated to just a role. I think RJ Barrett can be a little bit better than that. I think he can be a poor. I'm not gonna say Jaylen Brown because I think Jaylen Brown probably has a little notch he can get up to, like one more notch he can get up to.
We're in year 3. He's averaging 20.
Yeah, I think RJ Barrett.
Year 4. Year 3, Jaylen averaged 13.
RJ Barrett, the defense is gonna be there offensively. He may not be the shooter Jaylen Brown is, but I think he can be a little bit of a poor man's Jaylen Brown.
Developed that shot though.
Yeah,
he did.
But like Jaylen Brown's creation ability is tough too. I think RJ could be better than Andrew Wiggins.
I was gonna say, we saw RJ average 40% from the 3 on 4 attempts, something like that. He goes up to like five and change.
He has to be consistent. I think
I agree
he has
with
to
that,
be consistent.
100%.
And with getting a point guard that can play make helps you be consistent. It puts you in the right spots to score. And for a wing, that's one of the toughest positions in the league because you have to learn pretty much how to be every position in the league. You have to learn how to play make, defend, rebound, score the ball from all 3 levels. So RJ Barrett is learning that in New York without a true point guard, without a true – because Tom Thibodeau, as great as he is as a coach, he's in a guy that installs that in young guys. He's very stubborn with his ways. So RJ Barrett is kind of in a tough position to learn. But if he can do all that, he can definitely be up to Jaylen Brown. Maybe Jaylen Brown now, but Jaylen Brown probably is going to be a little bit better than this. But,
yeah, he's furthering his development now than Jaylen Brown was at the same age.
Yeah,
that's 100%
the situation was different. Jaylen Brown got drafted basically to a playoff team, essentially. RJ got drafted to a bad team.
I wouldn't say
I think that's beautifully. I think
they were on the
beautifully
way.
said.
They got Tatum, but that's what made them the playoffs.
And I also love what you said about getting drafted to New York. It takes a special individual mentally to play in New York, one of the toughest environments to play in. You have Philly, of course, but also New York. When you're on, they love you. They treat you like you're
Boston kind of halted Jaylen Brown's growth with bringing in Kyrie, bringing in Gordon Hayward. Like they wanted to win. They wanted to win. So I understand that. RJ is really like Julius Randle, if we're being realistic, kind of halted his growth because.
But Julius shouldn't stop him from growing.
It didn't really. I wouldn't say that.
When I say that, I mean RJ Barrett got better at one part of his game. When he was with Julius Randle, it was the shooting ability, the slot up shooting. He got better at that, the corner threes and stuff like that. But it halted his growth in the sense of being the number one option for the Knicks, being the face because Julius Randle had that anomaly of a year and became the face. It kind of messed him up in that aspect.
This past year we saw RJ,
but he wasn't consistent. That's the problem.
I know, but this is year 3. Even it took till year 4 for JB, year 4 for Brandon Ingram. That 4th year though, like if he could show it,
Pierre, you've had a lot of time to think about this. What's your answer?
I wasn't thinking. I don't want to interfere with nobody else's thoughts.
Okay.
I would say he's closer to JB. And I don't know. We can even throw it back to like the over and under on the All-Stars. If for the Andrew Wiggins, for him to get his one All-Star, which is like skeptical. So you could, if they're giving out All-Stars like that, then I can see RJ getting like 4 or 5.
The fair one's 1.5. When we did for Fox,
I think
the fair
RJ
one's
can.
1.5.
I think RJ could get 2. I see 2 in his career.
Jalen just got
Yeah,
his
if he
first,
could be
right?
that All-Star type dude
his
for the
first
Knicks,
one?
I could see him being closer to JB.
I just feel like right now it would just be hard. It would have to be really in the future because right now you got guys like KD, Giannis, Jimmy, Tatum.
Oh, you talking about the All-Star appearance?
Yeah, like there's a lot of guys RJ Barrett's gonna have to fight with for years.
Well, how old is Wiggins right now? Like 26,
27.
Wiggins 27.
27.
And so we got 6 years. In 6 years, I could see RJ making an All-Star appearance.
This is gonna be a while.
But it ain't going to be his numbers because Andrew Wiggins had RJ Barrett. Well, he had better numbers in
He's averaging
Minnesota.
14, right?
He was Wiggins was averaging like 24 points per game
Wiggins
in
was
Minnesota.
like a 20.
No, I'm talking about when he made the All-Star game.
He was averaging 17.
Okay.
17.
Okay.
It was just efficiency was
Defense.
in defense.
Facts.
So the
And
points,
then right
it's not
after
about
that,
the
he
points.
fell off.
And Kenny,
Well, that was
where,
because
where do you
that
think
fits perfectly into the next segment, honestly.
where do you think RJ falls in that spectrum, Kenny?
Probably a better man's Wiggins. That's who I will fall.
JB's a little too strong.
I think so, man. Maybe I'm projecting JB to even turn up more. Unless we're talking like current, right now, 2022 JB.
I think he can reach this level, JB.
I agree.
If
JB
we're
takes
talking
another
this
leap,
level,
though,
JB,
I don't know.
I think this might be the. I don't want to say ceiling because he's 21 years old. It's weird to put a ceiling on a 21-year-old.
Sometimes you know, though. Like sometimes
But-
you just know.
Yeah, I would say a better version of Wiggins if we delegating it to one or the other.
Okay.
Pierre, I'm extremely curious for your answer.
Who, me?
Yes.
The Nick guy.
I'm gonna go Wiggins, and for the reason being is very, it's a lot. That's why I waited. Number one, I think the things that hindered Wiggins are the same things that kind of hinder RJ.
Interesting.
Right? You project RJ to be a lot better of a finisher. Not that Andrew Wiggins in Minnesota was ever a bad finisher, but you always thought that he could be
I think he actually
better,
was a bad finisher.
way better for his
He was
athleticism.
underwhelming, for sure.
Yes. But the only reason I'm putting a little hesitation on it is because I can't remember if he was the second worst in the league,
Right.
like RJ Barrett was
I'm looking it up.
for value. But I know he was a lot worse than he should have been, with people thinking he was this athletic monster coming into the league. Shot diet and shot choice. It took him a while to clean that up. He loved the low percentage mid range shots and that turnaround post fade. Andrew
Hated
Wiggins
that.
loved that shot.
Hate that shot.
And for me, the biggest separator from all three of these names is Jaylen Brown. I know it's been a joke on Twitter throughout the playoffs with his handle and everything, but he's taken major strides with his handle and shot creation since California, his freshman year at Cal, coming into Boston. And he has a bag. One of my biggest things with RJ, because I just jumped onto the RJ thing over the last year and a half or so. I've been a big critic on RJ because I just felt Knicks fans pumped him up a little bit more than I like. He's a little stiff. His game is a little stiff, which there's not a problem with it, but it reminds me of Wiggins to where, you know, he has to be in an environment which is why I do think Julius Randle was a big hinder to him, because Julius Randle need the ball. Julius Randle shot the ball well that year, but he shot it kind of in isolation. He's not a guy you kicking it out to and he's just nailing threes and stretching the floor. Then you also playing with Mitchell Robinson, who don't do nothing offensively outside of 5 feet from by the rim. He's just catching it and dunking it or getting a rebound and dunking.
Yep.
He's not stretching the floor by any means. He's not a sophisticated passer from the elbow. And then you put on top of all of that, they didn't have a point guard at all. So then we were one of the worst three-point shooting teams. Thibodeau just does not know how to get three-point shooting on his rosters. And I think that really hindered RJ Barrett. But I think, like Wiggins, you put him around a lot of talent. You take some of his strengths that he doesn't realize is his strengths, and you prioritize it, and you clean up some shot selection. And, man, we talking about a different player. Jaylen Brown is a guy where he could create some shit on his own.
Definitely.
And I'm not ready to give Wiggins or RJ that. And to be honest with you, Wiggins still got the creation himself. But the best thing for Wiggins is he don't put it on display at 90%. Now with the Warriors is very selective. But if you watch in the finals, when Steph wasn't on the floor and they needed a motherfucker to do some shit, and Poole wasn't on the floor or some shit, A couple times we can say, hey, watch out, I'll get us a bucket. and I think cutting that down to 15% versus the 90% with Minnesota, it makes a lot less errors and it's a lot less ugly or less inefficient because it's like, nigga, you only give 3 ISOs a game now, Wiggins, versus in Minnesota. He got 20 times he getting isolations. Sure. So RJ is going to need that, which is why I like to step in the direction of getting Jalen Brunson, potentially getting Donovan Mitchell, because now you putting RJ in situations where he can do what he does best, that should be the blueprint for every player who isn't LeBron, Luka, Kevin Durant. Guys got to put people in position to be the best version of themselves and not what you think they should be.
Just to clean up some stuff. Wiggins was a good finisher early in his career. He didn't get to the basket nearly as much as you wanted. That's what the criticism was.
He took jump shots.
Yes, he stopped
for
the
long
mid-range.
Yeah, he loved that mid-range, bro. Yeah. I don't know why.
That's a
there's
great
not many
point.
players out here that can really carry a franchise.
Andrew Wiggins,
but the greatest thing about this entire conversation and everybody's perspective is that RJ Barrett is completely young, and for all we fucking know, he just turns into some shit we have. I'm a Knicks fan and an RJ Barrett fan. I'm hoping he ain't like none of them motherfuckers and that he better. Somehow, some way he pulled a hat out of his ass and he just killing shit. You feel me? Be Jimmy Butler. That's who the fuck I want you to be.
I mean, if
a guy who is cool in the regular season and the playoffs come, you tear their ass up. That's what I want RJ Barrett to be.
If he's Jimmy Butler, then we're talking about a potential top 10 player. I mean, I'm sure every single Knicks fan would take that to the crib.
That's better than Jaylen Brown.
No, easily.
Yeah, sure.
Damn, that's a lot of expectations.
So let me ask you, Pete, because I feel like this is what I've gotten from your spiel right there. RJ Barrett can be the number 1 option on a playoff team as of right now where we stand 2022.
What has he done that would make anybody?
I'm not disagreeing. No, not at all. But I'm just saying off your perspective and how you see RJ.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that to knock him. That's just a fact.
I get
a lot of players can't be a number
You're
1
right.
option on a playoff team.
100%.
Zach LaVine couldn't do it.
That one breaks my heart.
That's a pure bucket guy.
That one breaks my heart, to be honest with you.
Whoa.
We're talking 50, 40, 85 guy. Unfortunately, just last year injured. What was he supposed to do?
I don't want to say he can't.
No, he's a Levine guy. KB, right? You're a huge Levine guy.
He's the boy.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to say he can't.
I'm just saying it's hard. I'm just saying, like, Zach LaVine and RJ in 2 different tiers, and it's harder for Zach LaVine to do it. So I can't imagine RJ will be able to do it. That's all.
I trust LaVine, though. I feel like once we got to see him healthy, then we can really assess what he's doing in the playoffs. Yeah. Like, this one was very
That's why the difference is he didn't.
Fair.
Versus he couldn't.
Yep.
Especially with all of these young guys. Like, that's why I stress, I'm talking about right now, RJ Barrett. No, because he hasn't shown me that.
I got you.